Hello, freedom seekers. Jeremy Chambers, Independence Acres Homestead. Going to give you a couple updates about what's going on here on the homestead, and also we're going to get our rabbit hutch winterized. Stay tuned. So there's been so much going on around here. I don't even know where to start. So we got a concrete patio poured a couple weeks ago, really working on improving our outdoor living space for next year. One thing that this year has taught us is that we really need more usable outdoor living space. And so patio, gonna get a deck put in. We are also getting completely overrun with quail eggs. It has been, it's been a good year for quail eggs. They just keep coming and coming and coming. And you know, a lot of our usual ways of selling eggs and animal products has kind of been shut down with some of the social media really clamping down on animal products on their for sale sites. So we're having to get a little creative, and so we're going back to the old roadside stand. So the boys are working pretty hard on painting this contraption for us. It's just a basic, you know, 2 foot by 3 foot A-frame board. They're gonna get it painted with a nice coat of white paint front, back, and inside. Make it stand out a little bit, but also just to make sure that we keep it sealed against the elements. So this is basically just going to be a sign with you know, quail eggs for sale, how much, and we're going to put our business phone number on there so that people driving by can give us a call if they're interested in getting quail eggs. We really don't like people coming up to the house when we got stuff going on. It's just kind of an invasion sometimes to have people show up and knock at your door in order to get quail eggs. So yeah, so here's a quick look at the patio. It came along pretty well. About the only thing we don't like about it is the ugly green fence, but having free-range chickens, it's kind of a necessity because we don't want them digging in all of the fill dirt that we put in along the edge of the patio. And you know, we already got grass seed down, got straw on it to keep it from all getting eaten up by the chickens. Oh, excuse me, from the regular birds, but we really got to keep the chickens out of here, so the green fence was a necessity. Caleb's been working pretty hard on getting, I don't want to walk through the straw. Caleb's been working pretty hard on getting some of the bunny barn cleaned up, getting, you know, things winterized a little bit better. That's kind of what we're going to talk about today, is winterizing rabbit hutches. So, you know, obviously with the bunny barn, there's not too much we have to worry about as far as winterization. We're going to shut the windows down, turn off the fans. We still have good ventilation in there, so it's not much of a concern. Where it really comes into winterization is on our outdoor, you know, cage stand hutch structure. And here in Michigan, the rabbits actually do really well in the cold weather, but we want to protect them from direct wind, right? We don't want the wind blowing snow and rain and stuff like that into our cages. So we're going to work on blocking off 3 sides. We're going to block off the west side where we get most of our wind from, the back side of the cages there, which is the north side of the hutch, and we're also going to prevent and block off the east side here. We're going to leave the south side open because, as you can see, this is where they're getting all their sun. So the sun is just beaming down right on them, and they love to sun themselves and stay warm and take naps in the sun. So we're gonna keep this open. What we are gonna do though is, you know, if you remember when I rebuilt this, I extended this area here, the overhang on the front edge, so we get a little bit more overhang so I can get these lights powered up, but also so that when we hang tarps over, when it gets really cold out and we're really dealing with those strong, if we get the strong southern winds, we'll go ahead and hang tarps in here. But that extension on there gives us about a foot off the face of the cage so that we can get back behind the tarps and be able to feed and water them without too much discomfort. So basically what the idea is here is I've got some corrugated sheet metal. One thing about being a homesteader is you want to let all your neighbors know that you'll take their junk. I know that sounds strange, but by just communicating with the neighbors and saying, hey, if you ever have building materials, you know, we'll take them. It's been great. Our neighbor to the north here was doing a construction project and just showed up with a trailer full of plywood and 2x4s, and that has really fueled a lot of the extra little projects that we've got going on around here. But what he also had was some metal roofing, some sheet metal, and we'll be using that to block off those 3 sides. It's also going to come in handy. We're going to be working on building a firewood crib, and so that's another project coming up. I'm going to show you what we're going to be doing there. So, you know, I guess that's about it. It's time for me to get this done. So the main reason why this is a push for us to get this done today is tomorrow the temperatures are going to be dropping down into the upper 20s to low 30s, and they're calling for 1.5 to 3 inches of snow. And this is not unheard of or early for snow, but I don't want to be out here struggling trying to get this done and get this sealed up while the winds are blowing. Now, when it comes to sealing up the hutch, while we're trying to block as much wind as possible from the 3 sides, it's also important that we don't restrict airflow in order to make sure that they are still getting some circulation, air circulation in there. We don't want it to be drafty or the wind blowing on them, but we still want circulation and getting airflow up in here. So the great thing about any corrugated metal for this is that you're always going to have some ventilation coming up off the roof. Excuse me, up off the roof here. And also with these mismatched panels that I've got. So I've got mismatch of colors and cuts and sizes and angles. But this actually kind of works out in my favor. So on the panels I'm using on the side, they're already cut at a 30 degree, but my roof is not sitting at 30 degrees. So what this gives me is actually a little bit of a gap here in this area. So it's going to get some airflow, some crosswind across the top, just to make sure that stuff doesn't get stagnant up in there. And even though this is just for the winter, we're still going to be using the correct sheet metal screws here. I'm going to leave a gap of about 2 inches here just to keep that airflow going through. I'm going to go on the back side. So like I said before, most of these materials were given to us, so we got a mismatch of cuts and angles, and I'm just going to piece it together and make it work. Because never look a gift horse in the mouth, right? I really should have gloves on working with this sheet metal like this, but well. I forgot to bring some out. Not the prettiest, but it's functional. Got one little place to patch in here on this end, and then we'll be done. there we have it. About 25 minutes and some free sheet metal and about $2 worth of sheet metal screws. And we have our cage stand slash hutch completely winterized. The only thing left to do, like I said, is just to hang the tarps in the front, and then we'll be all set. And we really appreciate you joining us today. And until next time, God bless. Hey, you guys about got that sign painted? Where'd everybody go? Ah, well.